The golden child and the couch. I am a female in my mid-40s, the oldest of 3 siblings, and the lifelong outsider in my own family. My youngest sister, Whitney, was always my mother's favorite. It was an obvious, running family joke. While my brother and I inherited our mother's short, dark-haired, and curvy frame, Whitney was the tall, thin, blonde exception. My adolescence was soundtracked by my mother bemoaning my appearance while praising my sisters. "We aren't lucky like Whitney," she would sigh. "She can wear anything." The favoritism wasn't just verbal, it was structural. I didn't have a bedroom. I slept on the living room couch and kept my clothes in the hallway closet until the day I moved out. I was excluded from family vacations to Disney World because I was deemed too old to enjoy it. One memorable Christmas, my siblings opened a mountain of gifts while my sole presents were a cookbook and a salt grinder. I coped by becoming a resentful, heavy metal listening stoner. At 18, I packed my bags and went entirely low contact with my family for years. A fragile truce. After my divorce in 2018, I briefly moved back in with my parents to recover. The old patterns lingered. I was still expected to vacate the guest room whenever Whitney and her husband visited, but overall, things felt more manageable. When Whitney gave birth to a daughter after a heartbreaking decade of infertility, I genuinely hoped the baby would be a fresh start for our historically hostile relationship. Instead, the frost returned. Whitney abruptly blocked me from her daily Instagram stories of her daughter and stopped participating in our family group chat. I had no idea what I had done wrong, but the door was firmly shut again. The ambush at the beach. Recently, my mother mentioned she was renting a small beach house for a week with my dad and my oldest non-binary, gay nibbling, a brilliant teenager whom I adore. Eager to bond, I asked if I could join for tonight's. My mother agreed hesitantly, emphasizing that it was a tiny place with no extra bedrooms. I would have to sleep on a couch or a cot in the living room. I didn't mind the lack of comfort, as I just wanted to see my family. Last weekend, I picked up a rental car after a long week of work and drove 6 hours through the dark to a remote cluster of unlit beach cabins. When I called my mother for guidance on which cabin was theirs, her voice immediately sounded tight and hesitant. "Well," she admitted, "we just laid down Whitney's daughter in the cot. We're trying to figure out where to put you. Maybe you can make a pallet on the floor?" The reality hit me instantly. Whitney was there. My mother had deliberately hidden her presence from me, knowing I was driving 6 hours into a crowded trap. Whitney had used these exclusionary tactics for years to chase me out of holidays, and my mother was still actively enabling it.